world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too naive.
Well, hello. So we are here today for an amazing 3-day activation. I hope that you guys are excited. I hope you guys are ready to go. A lot to cover over the next 3 days. My name is Christine and Tim. I am the CEO of the Global Startup Ecosystem. And here today, I'm going to be supporting you along this journey for our first annual Startup AI Ready Bootcamp. Over the next 3 days, if you are a founder, an entrepreneur, solopreneur, contractor, freelancer, influencer who is trying to monetize and scale, I offer this conversation for you, because over the next 3 days, we're going to talk about how you're going to create founder growth for building, selling, and scaling in the AI economy. So it's going to be a really important conversation. And before I dive into today's series of content, information, and most especially just in general, this conversation around AI, I want to first preface this with a little bit of a reality check. I am here actually traveling. I've been traveling for the past couple of weeks due to different tech weeks that are happening around the world. Many of you know there was New York Tech Week, then there was London Tech Week. This week right now is Climate Week, and then I know in the fall we're going to have Climate Week in New York. And one of the biggest things that I will tell you as I sit here going in and out of programs, initiatives, I'm speaking at different events, attending different programs, talking to collaborators, talking to institutions, the biggest point of conversation is AI. I'm literally even frazzled sometimes talking about it, because everyone has different ways of looking and conversing about how ready are you when it comes to AI adaptability in your organization, in your life, in your projects, in your initiatives, in your works. AI adaptability is a real concern for entrepreneurs around the world, whether you are at the corporate level, SME level, startup level, wherever you are in your journey as an entrepreneur. This is a very crucial conversation. Now, before I even kick off, I just want to formally introduce myself to you all. My name is Christine and Tim again. I am a global speaker. I'm a 3-time founder, tech ecosystem enabler, and I am on a mission of really inspiring and supporting the next generation of entrepreneurial leaders. I believe that entrepreneurs can lead communities, can disrupt markets, and truly create the change that they want to see in a world that needs positivity, integrity, and literally better solutions for global challenges. And I realize that some of the best founders in the world, some of the best entrepreneurs in the world may have, all the greatest, hopes and dreams to create a business at scale that really impacts and supports communities at large, but they are not really optimized for scale. They're not really positioned for opportunity. And this whole revolution with this technology, with AI, has really been an equalizer, but in many ways has been a real inhibitor of success for a lot of different entrepreneurs. So over the next 3 days, my mission, my goal is to make AI adoption not only real, practical, and even possible for many of you as entrepreneurs on this call, but also show you how we at GST have created frameworks for scale and success with this technology. Now, over the next 3 days, it's going to be high level. right? In the Bootcamp Academy, we'll share with you opening opportunities starting tomorrow for you to be able to sign up to have a practical workshop session where we're going to implement a lot of the strategies that we're going to share over the next 3 days. The first one is going to be, I believe, on the 30th next week, Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to supporting many of you on the Startup AI Ready workshop where we're going to implement everything that we're covering in the bootcamp. But at the high level, GSC has been around for years. We have been an organization that our entire mission to really prepare entrepreneurs for the digital age. And at the core of that work is really making sure that we are positioning entrepreneurs with great tools, resources, information, and resources to be able to do that, especially entrepreneurs who are at the ideation stage, who don't know where to start to take the ideas to market. We engage in our ecosystems around the world with three pillars of engagement. First being entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is our core foundational model of success in terms of really inspiring and giving practical tools and insights to entrepreneurs who are building the next generation of ideas and solutions for global challenges. The second pillar is around education. We train around education around exponential technologies that are disrupting global economies, and AI is a big core focus right now. This is hence the reason why we're doing the AI Ready, bootcamp program. And the third is ecosystem. We are an ecosystem building organization. We are always working with institutional partners and the sustainable development goals. We are always pushing goal number 17, which is all about partnerships, collaborations. We have worked with some of the biggest organizations you could think of around the world, whether it be institutions like Google, Facebook, IBM, even media partners like Forbes, Inc. magazine, Fast Company, or even governments around the world, from Haiti to Ghana to the UAE to the United Kingdom and the U.S. State Department. We are a real ecosystem building capacity organization that really supports entrepreneurs, but also look at the stakeholdership around the world and different ecosystems globally, and making sure that we're empowering them with visibility and advocacy at large. So we're really big on these initiatives globally at scale. And of course, our main flagship program that we are known for is, of course, the Digital Startup Accelerator program, which applications are now open if you want to apply, is where we select thousands of entrepreneurs from around the world every single year for our annual program, where in the fall, for 4 weeks digitally, we bring some of the best and brightest minds together, and we are training them with speakers and partners in our network to be able to help them get from ideation to launch stage. Okay, so it's a really inspiration but practical accelerator program to help you go from ideation to launch, and we've been running this program for about 9 years and counting. The second program service that we offer is obviously our Digital Startup Academy for entrepreneurs who are ready to scale and want real business model practical success, and we're able to put them into our membership program community to be able to do that, and of course our annual Digital Startup Summit. Now, in addition to these services, our accelerated history is that we've been running this program for several years around the world, and of course all our entrepreneurs who complete the program get close to 150,000 worth of credit supports and discounts and resources from our international collaborators and partners at the global levels, whether it be Google Cloud, AWS, IBM, you name it. It's on our partnership ecosystem to help you succeed in your entrepreneurial endeavor. And we have had entrepreneurs who've graduated our program say all the best things about the experience, the inspiration, the practicality of the program. Our goal is to really help you to succeed. And really, in addition to our programs across the board with our flagship accelerator program, we understand that ecosystem capacity around the world is different. The ecosystem in Silicon Valley is very different than the ecosystem in Haiti or Nigeria or Ghana, and so our work is really bringing visibility to the stakeholders in different ecosystem to shine a light on local entrepreneurs who are disrupting, whether it be their local economy or ready to go global. And that's the reason why we have a portfolio of dozens of different major tech summit programs like Haiti Tech Summit, Ghana Tech Summit, Her Future Summit, Afro Future Summit. Many of these global tech events that you probably have heard of are in the GSC portfolio of initiatives that we do, where we have pretty much been on a global tour over the past 9 years, launching tech initiatives through these tech summits around the world. And we're about 40 countries and counting. So our portfolio is very vast, it's growing every single year. And we're so proud of the work that we do, inspiring and really bringing visibility to startup stakeholders around the world. And we've been featured in media outlets around the world for the work that we do for providing an advocacy for entrepreneurs, but also advisory services for institutional clients at large, and really being a leader in this ecosystem. So that's a little bit about GSC. But why are we doing this AI Ready Bootcamp? Because many of you are aware that there are a lot of challenges that entrepreneurs are facing right now to not only stay relevant, but also stay resilient in this chaotic sea of change that's happening with the economy, with, AI adoption, with human, transition societally. Like, there's so many different, I would say, colliding things that are happening all simultaneously that's making it harder to be a successful entrepreneur. I think now more than ever, this is the easiest time to enter and break into launching a company, but to sustain that company and make it relevant, make it resilient is actually a lot harder. So I'm finding a lot of entrepreneurs in our portfolio, but also entrepreneurs who are coming into our programs and initiatives are all saying the same thing. How do we leverage AI? How do we leverage artificial intelligence to succeed with our company, with our growth strategy? How do we make it practical? How do we have a business model that's resilient, that's capable to sustain this economy? How do we have a leadership model that makes our CEO and our founding team visible to work with, collaborate with, to scale with? These are the questions and concerns that many of you have been facing. So we decided that, it's best to make this a really insightful 3-day conversation to help position you for success. So if you're ready, without further ado, I'm going to dive right in because there's so much to discuss here. And the core thing that I want to make sure that you understand when it comes to AI adaptability is, when you think about your capacity efforts right now as an entrepreneur, a lot of entrepreneurs start their AI journey or AI capacity journey with just using AI tech tools, right? AI tech tools to either optimize productivity, to do their marketing, to do kind of administrative support. Everyone's just always on a trending, like, kind of life cycle wheel around what is, really new, what is trending, what is, the latest AI tool that's going to help my business scale passively. And where I want people to understand is that we have now seen AI adoption at the startup level and even at the enterprise level at a huge, massive scale, especially since the pandemic, right? And there's certain things that have not changed. We all know the statistics that close to 90% of startups fail within the first 5 years. That's that, despite all the business programming, despite all the conversations, despite all the tools, have not shifted. Okay. 70% of digital transformation efforts actually fail. This is at the enterprise level, where you have big companies, big institutional companies who are trying to adopt AI, are still struggling with making this adoption work for their organizations. And this is the reason why there's been a massive excitement around AI pilot projects across different organizations, but they never really make it. About 65% of them actually still fail, right? So what does that tell you? If at the institutional level, corporations and government institutions are struggling to adopt AI, practically speaking, across their organization, and startups are still failing at an alarming rate, where does that leave hope and excitement and even just potential for you to adopt AI in a way that, again, makes you relevant and resilient in this current AI driven economy? And where I want to share with you all is really inspiring you to understand that the future entrepreneur is not just going to look at the tools that they need to leverage, but look at, how can they leverage AI to create an advantage that transcends all different challenges that's preventing entrepreneurs to succeed right now. And in GSC, we have a 3T framework to help you understand how you leverage AI to really transform time, traction, and trust within the market. When you are able to cross and really reference and leverage AI to really optimize your time, optimize your ability to have better traction, and really scale trust, you have now a transformative advantage to beat your competitors in the market, because you are leveraging AI in a realistic, practical way that actually makes you succeed. Starting with time. I do understand that productivity, tools is probably the biggest hack in human talent management of all time. Everyone's always looking at how do we optimize 24 hours a day, right? And where we always advise our entrepreneurs is not so much about looking at the tools that's going to make you succeed, but learn how AI can actually help you reclaim time by improving productivity in a way that is actually making you see the gaps of times being lost answering email, having broken systems, with connected to clients, onboarding partners, all of that. So that way you could scale without having to put more grunt work into it, right? So how are you optimizing time? Traction is very crucial for entrepreneurs. When you're starting up and you're trying to, onboard partners, clients, contracts, you got to show some KPI that's showing that you are progressing and you're growing as a company, right? And one of the biggest killers of traction that I've seen of entrepreneurs is them having their business model being too complicated. And in this boot camp tomorrow, we're going to go over this, the power of one growth framework, where you're going to learn how to simplify your business model and create a growth engine that actually generates measurable traction for your company. Because I can't stress this enough. If you are out here just doing all the things, have multiple product offers, multiple business line revenue items, multiple ways to skin a cat, and you're just sitting out here and you feel like you're still overwhelmed, it's because your business model is too complicated and you need to simplify it so you can have growth. And the last one, and this is probably a huge one, and this is going to be the culminating part of this entire bootcamp. You have to be here for day 3 because this is by far the heart of our entire bootcamp. Is how do you scale trust, and not in a fuzzy type of way, but trust is at an all-time low amongst individuals. I mean, right now, social media is bombarded with AI content. People don't trust people. We are not having implementing into integrity into their business practices right now. And so, how do you scale trust? And relationships at a large. And really, what we're going to share with you on that day is really the Trust Bridge event framework, how to build relationships, credibility, and revenue in an AI economy. It's going to be a really powerful and hopefully an inspirational culmination to this entire AI Ready Bootcamp, so you understand how do I make sure that I'm scaling, but also not compromising relationships, reputations, brand conversion capacity in that endeavor of trying to seek scale. Okay, so time, traction, trust. These are the 3 things. If you are able to leverage insights around how do you leverage AI across these 3 different parameters, you have a capacity advantage that will supersede any other competitor in the market, and you position yourself as a future entrepreneur leader in training. Okay. And so I want to start today with around time. Okay. And the challenge that many of you guys have stated, as entrepreneurs trying to adopt AI into your businesses, is like most entrepreneurs have a huge capacity problem. A lot of you guys are doing multiple things, multiple activities in a day. There's not a set routine about how to execute and be efficient, right? There's too much manual repetitive work, disconnected systems within your organization. Maybe for many of you, your organization is one person, right? And because you don't have a workflow to optimize, this inconsistency in your execution and bottlenecks in growth, right? And what you want to learn to do is really help AI to help you reclaim time and improve productivity, but also making you see the gaps of opportunity. And one of the biggest things that we've seen is that I'll start with this, and this is where I'm going to help you to rethink how you look at time and how you look at AI tools to really optimize your time. Currently speaking, on average, entrepreneurs are leveraging anywhere from 20 to 50 different software tools and subscriptions. Check your background. Maybe if you look at your burner right now, a lot of you are using tools sincerely that you're not even using, because about 30 to 40% of SaaS subscriptions are either underused or completely unused. Many of you get inspired. Maybe you see a new tool that can really help optimize your business or optimize your marketing or optimize a funnel or optimize this part of your business. And we just go on, right? And just go quickly and just adopt it and don't look at the practicality of integrating that into your routine. So the first thing that we always tell people is, first and foremost, do an audit of the software usage that you have. If you have more than 10, you have too much. And that's sincere, because there's a certain scaling mechanism, whether it's be your revenue size or optimization. and this is why we're going to talk about business model. If you are using too many, if you're logging into too many dashboards, or you're leveraging too many different tools, and you recognize that you are overwhelmed because just logging in is creating bottleneck friction, so moving in between different softwares, you have a major problem. So the first thing I always tell people is look at your software tools. How many are you subscribed to? I don't even care if it's free, by the way. That's another thing that I had a conversation with an entrepreneur client the other day, is that even if it's a free subscription, it is still a software tool that you're using that's taking away time. So look at, again, on average, people are using 20 to 50 different software tools. How do you reduce it down to 10? Okay. And then when you look at that, what are you looking how are you optimizing those 10 that you are using? And this is where we show entrepreneurs, okay, here's the actual tech stack that actually creates success, right? How are you looking at your tech stack to make sure it's covering the areas of your business that actually leads to success? Now, in every business, there are about 8 different departments that create success. Your customer service, your sales, your marketing, your finance, right? There's different departments in your company, even if you are a solo entrepreneur, that you have to fulfill to create success. So when you are, as a company, having multiple tools, you are creating friction between each one of those departments to create a flow, again, a workflow that makes you successful. So I always tell entrepreneur, do you have a tech platform for your CRM, for your data, your emails? How you optimize that? Do you have a communication process that is seamless? Email, not just email inbound, email outbound, right? Productivity. Are you using Slack? Are you using Trello? What software are you using? We have seen that a huge migration from PayPal and just credit card, finance fulfillment, when people are making general sales, to leveraging platforms like Stripe, right? Because again, anything that could optimize and scale your revenue efforts, even better. A big one, this is what we're going to talk about on day 3, is you have to go live. You have to create thought leadership capacity. You have to get in front of, stakeholders, go live on social media, have real provoking conversations. And so you need live streaming tools like platforms like StreamYard, so people could hear you, have visibility on how you think your business model, your solution, and get in front of you, right? Operations. Do you have a central dashboard where you could see visibly, kind of like a 360 view of your business? Because if you're working with multiple different data points, you're not able to see holistically what was the open rate, how many people are buying, what's the scale rate. And so that way you have a specific KPI every single week that you could focus on and say, okay, this is the target that I want to hit, and this is how I'm going to move forward, right? And right now, there's been a huge surge of people not looking at software individually, but how do you find software tools that integrate all of these different, tech tools in one place? So all-in-one software is just it right now, like Kajabi, Kit, ClickFunnels. I know for myself, for my personal brand, I've used Kajabi, but for a lot of my, because I have a business portfolio of multiple businesses, we use ClickFunnels. Some of us, we also use Kit, right? And what I love about that all-in-one software has, my ability to, look at my finance, look at me to go live, be able to look at my data, my CRM, to have email marketing, newsletters, content publishing, website optimization, all in one. And so one of the biggest things that I will stress to all of you is to make sure that you're looking at time management from a perspective of looking at your tech stack. How's your tech stack making you successful? And to dive deeper into this, I actually have a session where I sit down with entrepreneurs, with CEOs and founders, and I sit down and say, okay, give me an overview of your routine. And what you will find is that anytime I see that their routine is not consistent or boring, just to get to the point, I know that they have bottlenecks in their business, that they're not optimized for success. So, for example, I'll ask an entrepreneur, Monday to Friday, what is your routine? At best, they'll have a disconnected routine, and they'll be able to walk me through what they do on Monday through Friday. At worst, they'll be able to say, well, I don't really have a routine. Each day is very different. Some days I'm here, some days I'm here, some days I'm there, and that is horrible. And one of the biggest things that we stress to entrepreneurs is like, look at your lifestyle, look at your capacity, and look at the season of entrepreneurship that you're in, and how you're creating a schedule from a monthly standpoint, then a weekly standpoint, then a daily standpoint. So I'm going to share with you my model is that I have a weekly block schedule where I look at Monday to Friday. Mondays and Fridays, I notoriously do not host anything live or have any front-facing activities with clients, customers, partners, or any type of external party. Mondays are reserved for me to have, more deep work, revision planning, content creativity, administrative items, all internal facing things. Fridays is usually left as a flex day where I could work on some type of business activity, but mostly is mainly focused on my own personal flex day endeavors. So that leaves me with Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I look at, okay, Tuesday is really focused on person, and this is where I have 4 blocks of activations that I do to optimize my visibility as an entrepreneur, but also the visibility for my businesses. And those 4 blocks, I put like literally a cross on a paper. Left top left is things about my personal brand. So is my newsletter up for the week? Is my content out there? Do I have my live schedule for me to go out and do thought leadership exercises on LinkedIn, Substack, right? Everything related for that week that has to be done with my personal brand. On the right side, top right, is my business functions, right? So I'm a 3-time founder. So what are my activities for each one of my businesses for the week? Am I closing a contract? Am I doing fulfillment? Am I, looking for another client? Are we scaling up our operations? Are we launching this initiative? Are we going to be at Davos? Are we going to be at Ungle Week? Anything related to business functional operations is in that bucket. And then the bottom is really related to personal. I'm a very holistic entrepreneur. I'm a mother of 5. I'm a wife. I'm a big family person. I'm into farming. And so I do not support the hustle culture. Now, I will say there are seasons where you have to hustle. There are moments of momentum that you need to build upon. And I'm all for that. And I have to speak truthfully that in my early 20s, I was all about momentum. And that has helped me benefited me right now as an entrepreneur to be able to scale back and optimize my time. With that said, I don't believe you should be hustling all the time. So at the bottom, on the bottom sets is really focused around personal endeavors. So the bottom left is my personal activities. So that's errands, right? What do I need to do for my household? I cook every day. So, what am I cooking for the menu for the household? What am I doing around the house? Do I have to call the gardener again? Do I have to, tell my driver that, these are the scheduling things that we need to do with the kids? All these different things are in my personal activities. And then the bottom right is all around projects. So these are major projects that we as a household are doing. So are we buying another house? Are we buying another car? Are we doing a major project in Accra? Are we going to London? There are so many different major projects. And for some people, I told people I had a season where I was just recalibrating, where I was just updating my systems, photo projects, or financial, reconstructing, our finances. Like, there's so many different projects that we as human beings don't realize that's in the back of my mind, because a overwhelmed CEO does not succeed in their business endeavors. So you got to take a step back and look at yourself and say, okay, what is in the back of my mind that I need to deal with, that I need to be working towards? Because you may not complete it on it, today, but if you have it as a time block where you're contributing to that, it really makes room for opportunity. So in that time block of those 4 blocks I just shared with you, I have a minimum of an hour dedicated to that along those 3 days on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. That way I am making sure that I'm hitting my goals across those 4 time blocks on a daily basis, but at the same time, I have room to look at my day in a way that's flexible, but also very, very productive. So all that I just shared right now had nothing to do with tech. I don't know if you noticed that. It had everything to do with my mindset, my routine schedule, my approach for really making sure that I am making myself ready and willing to see my world in a way that I've constructed. So if you notice, I didn't talk about, going immediately on social media, checking my email, no, I start my day and start my week with intention to make sure that I'm executing on the things that I want to do that matters to me, and then making sure that it's holistic in general. So that way I don't burn out, but more important, that way I'm happy and excited to do the work that I do. Okay. And so with that said, part one of all that time management is like, what is your actually work routine and how do you break that down? So a lot of times we work with entrepreneurs, we sit down, we get a white paper, we give them the framework for the time blocks, and we say, okay, let's actually create your work routine. And comment calendar if you want my workbook, because I've actually have a customized entrepreneur leadership handbook, where it has my own structure for productivity. So it has obviously my calendar, my diary, but also my time block structure on it, because I customized, because I could not find a planner that really looked at, holistically, me balancing my personal brand endeavors, my business endeavors, my personal activities, and my project activities. And so it's like a very holistic binder. So comment calendar if you want access to it. And really, it helps me stay organized, but also fulfilled. I can't stress enough that if you thought this was going to be a time conversation about how to hustle and do the most and do more, this is not the one. It's about how do I accomplish more by doing less, not from a lazy perspective, but more from a fulfilling, heart central perspective, where that, man, I got done what I needed to prioritize today. And at the same time, I feel proud of what I'm working on. I feel proud of the progress I'm making, even if it's incremental, right? You can have exponential leaps in your business, but you're making incremental also progress with your personal endeavors. And sometimes that will shift over where you're making incremental, progress for your business, but exponential leaps in your personal life. You need both to balance how you show up every single day. And so the first half of this time capacity is really looking at your routines. And then you look at the tech stack that helps optimize and scale that vision you have for how you want to show up and be in this world when it comes to managing your time, right? The tech is supposed to be an enabler, a tool that enables your success, not a replacement of your ingenuity, your imagination, and your inspiration, like how you want to show up. And so with that said, when I'm looking at the tech stack, I'm like, okay, I first start with my daily routine. What's my core hour for each function? What's my administrative tasks? What's my project tasks? What are my resolutions? And then I create SOPs. This is a big one that we do. It's like, okay, once I have my daily routine, what activities that I do on a repetitive basis that I want to make sure that now it's obviously habitual because you're doing it over and over and over, but make sure that I have my checklist ready to go to make sure that I'm covering all bases, to make sure I'm succeeding every single time. There's a reason why we like buying from fast foods, because we know whether I buy from, let's say, McDonald's in Paris, or go all the way to France, or go all the way to the UK, or go all the way to, Japan, or even to Accra, Ghana, that the McDonald's, menu that I see there is going to be the same everywhere. Maybe a little bit of customization on the taste, but the menu is going to be very strategic because there is a standard procedure of operating. So the second thing that we do after doing the daily routine is we talk about, what do you have any SOPs? And for those of you like, what is an SOP? It's a standard operating procedure. Now, I want to say this for those of you who think that, oh, this is going to slow you down, like you don't have time to create SOPs. We have a framework to help you do all the major SOPs in your business within an hour. Okay. So if you can't, first off, if you can't find an hour in your week, we got other problems to talk about. We can talk about that offline. However, once you identify your ideal week, okay, that's what we just talked about, your ideal week, your ideal team, then we get about SOPs to make sure that that's repeated every time. So for me, I know every week I always go live. So I have an SOP for optimizing my live events to make sure that they're converting and bringing clients or bringing real visibility. I have an SOP for email secrecies because we know newsletters and email communication is the highest ROI on sales conversions for our business. Client onboarding SOPs, project management SOPs. We have an SOP. And by the way, we don't have SOPs otherwise. We actually have less than 10 SOP procedures, main SOP high level procedures in our organization for the major things of our business. And we go over different functions, the 8 departments of your startup company, and the SOP procedures you need to succeed in those departments. So we have those frameworks and implementation. If you want to have access to the GSC AI Ready workshop, just comment workshop and you'll get access to those SOP frameworks and templates. It's really phenomenal. So that way you're able to do it for your entire organization within an hour. But again, working your way backwards, daily routine, SOP, and then we think about the tech stack. So if you are and what this forces is that daily routine goes into SOP, you're doing it all manually. So you can see what's your actual habitual way of executing on this task. That way, the tech has to match it. I've seen people use tech software that doesn't fit their actual habits, right? Or their actual way of doing things. By looking at your procedures, you're not able to find the tech that actually works to manage your data, your IP content, your marketing, your sequencing, your lead generation strategies, okay? So all of this combined really creates success creates momentum, it creates excitement. It really is a powerful way of really positioning yourself for success in a way that actually makes you excited and fulfilled. Again, the most important thing about this procedure is looking at what is my ideal work week as a startup entrepreneur? And how do I create a daily routine around that? Okay, once I've done that, how do I now create procedures where even if I'm not in the picture for the day, let's say I hire a contractor or I have a member of a team, they know the SAP procedure for hosting a live event if I'm not around, right? And with that said, they know what tools to leverage, Kajabi, ClickFunnels, Kit, whatever it is, to make sure that we're succeeding and we can see the data. So I don't even need to email them. It's like, how did that event go? I could go into that dashboard and leverage the tech to see how I'm optimized. And this is the secret to success. This is our entrepreneur framework for time management by leveraging AI tools that actually look at the human-centered design of how you are showing up by, again, working your way backwards, creating the ideal work week for you and your startup company, and then creating the procedures and then creating the blueprint for success by leveraging tech to optimize that. Okay. So with that said, we have covered a lot just for day one. We're going to go offline and support a lot of you with individual questions. You can ask questions on the feed right now. Obviously, all our, VIP guests are going to have a part 2 to this right now, live privately in the chat on the Facebook group for those of you who signed up. But where do we go from here, right? I started off by having a very basic conversation that AI adoption for your startup is not about finding the trending tool that works. It's about you looking at yourself as an entrepreneur. How do you want to lead in this day and age, right? When it comes to this AI economy and this society that's shifting right before our eyes. And what you want to do is really look at how do you build resiliency and relevancy in a way that makes you proud, makes you fulfilled, makes you show up as your best self. And the 3 areas that you want to optimize and create capacity around is time. And that's what we covered today. How are you leveraging AI to reclaim your time and improve productivity? And I walk you through how to look at from a human standpoint before looking at the tech. We looked at, okay, your routine, your SOPs, then we look at the tech stack and looking at reducing your tech stack load to make sure that you're optimized. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about traction. This is going to be a very crucial conversation where we're going to look at your business model. For those of you who are out here feeling overwhelmed with how your business generating revenue, some of you maybe have not been able to generate revenue. Tomorrow is going to be a very important thing because usually in entrepreneurs who go through the traction component of this conversation, they're able to generate sales within a week with our framework. Okay. And this is all about the power of one framework. We're going to talk about how to create one offer, one conversion strategy, and one fulfillment strategy to make sure that you are doing that at scale. Every successful entrepreneur on the planet started with optimizing one thing in their business, and that's what took them to on global markets. And so we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And on the third day, we're going to talk about trust, how to really create trust at scale to really scale and build relationships, credibility, and revenue in an AI economy that actually works. Because a lot of online influencers right now are not telling the truth about how they're creating visibility, how they're creating trust, because a lot of them have broke that trust, right? So we'll share with you the Trust Bridge event framework model to help you succeed in that endeavor and how we are leveraging AI, teaching our clients to leverage AI to do it at scale without compromising their integrity. So that's the framework we're going to end with on day 3. With that said, it is my hope that the next generation of entrepreneurs are going to be more thoughtful, more purposeful, and more ambitiously bold in their approach to solving global challenges. I think over the past decade, we are fatigued and quite frankly tired of the business entrepreneur who's focused solely on scale, focused solely on clout metrics, focused solely on just building just for personal visibility and that actual solution oriented in their approach. We want leaders. We want innovators. We want influencers who care about the communities they serve. We want people who literally are triggered by the challenges and the problems that their constituents face. We want entrepreneurs to become leaders again. Because the most important part of being an entrepreneur is not only taking the idea to market and finding a business sustainability component to it, because that's really what it is. You're leveraging business to make that solution sustainable. That's really the core point of being an entrepreneur. It's not to become greedy. It's not to, and keep in mind, Being wealthy is a byproduct. So there's nothing wrong with wealth, but there's something wrong with losing integrity, losing focus, losing purpose. I want many of you to go back to the reason why you started that business, the reason why you started that initiative, the reason why you started this endeavor. Go back to that core why, and you will find purpose again. You will find meaning again. Because as I see this whole new wave of AI adoption and people trying to leverage technology, we've become almost desensitized where we're just so disconnected to the problem that we wanted to solve in the first place. I want to challenge you guys as you go through this boot camp, go back to the reason why you started. Go back to the heart and soul of why you decided to become an entrepreneur. You will find that with every challenge that you face, when you went back to that why, it completely shifted how you showed up, but also how you executed. So over the next 3 days, this AI Ready Bootcamp is meant to not only serve you the practical, insightful ways to leverage your AI to build capacity and advantage at scale, but to remind you that this is just a tool. The heart of your success will be your passion, your purpose, and your driven focus to succeed in an economy and a time period that many are going to be talking about in years to come. So I wish you all an amazing day one of the AI Ready Bootcamp. I hope that you gain a lot of perspective on today's session around time management and how to build an advantage around how you look at creating an ideal work week that makes you successful in your execution as a startup founder. Tomorrow we'll talk about traction, and it will lead and conclude with trust, because at the end of the day, an entrepreneur who leads with purpose is an entrepreneur that really builds a legacy that people could talk about and people can love and people could get behind. You want to create a movement. You want to create a moment that really resonates with other audiences. Show up with yourself, show us authentically, show us who you are, and show up with purpose. I cannot wait to see how you guys are going to succeed with this conversation, with this new era that we're building. We are supporting the next generation of entrepreneurs. We want entrepreneurs to be leaders again, and I can't wait to see you soar. Thank you so much for an amazing day one. I look forward to seeing all of you for day two of the AI Ready Bootcamp. Let's go get them, everyone. See you soon.
But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you.